what is an internet boyfriend?
You are so incredible in the series, and it's quite different than anything we've seen you in before. I feel like we just need to take a moment to appreciate your range.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody's doing it quite like you. How do you feel about your own filmography? And does demonstrating that range like come into your mind when you pick roles like this one?
Well, first of all, that is so nice of you to say. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it because, you know, I've been acting since I was 4, which is insane. I know it's insane. But then when I think about like my career, when it kind of started to pick up when I was 9, which is also insane, I have played such a wide range of people, and it was never this like strategic thing. You know, it was always just like fun for me to play all different walks of life and also just play around with what I was able to do. And so I loved doing the show for so many reasons, but one of the many reasons was that I'd never done something like this before, and that it really did challenge me in a new way, which is always great. If I have a feeling of a little bit of fear entering into a new character, that's perfect. I want to feel a little scared when I'm starting a new project because that means it's worth doing. My mom always told me, you know, growing up when I would be nervous to go into auditions or whatever, I'd be like, Mom, I'm so nervous. She would say, and that means you're alive. And that's a beautiful thing. And so I've just carried that with me. And this one was a beautiful blessing because it's something I'd never done before. And it's very close to my heart. You know, it's my heritage.
Logan's character in the series is a composer, and the music he plays is such a source of light and levity in this show. So in real life, what's a song that makes each of you feel like everything's going to be okay?
Oh,
Here we go.
That's interesting.
oh,
Because it's easier for me to think about
A sad song.
the songs that place me in more
uh,
emotional.
Ibrahim Malaluf, Una Rosa Blanca. Totally recommend it.
Anything Cat Stevens, really. Like, if you want to sing it out, sing out. What's that? I don't know. I think that's the name of the song, right? I don't know if that's just like the hook of it, but
No, yeah, if you want to sing out, sing out.
yeah. I mean, anything Cat.
I'm gonna go with my daughter is learning to play the drums, and her favorite song is "Kids" by MGMT.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And
great.
like
That's
I've
fun.
got footage on my phone of
great.
her drumming to that. And it's the most like pure, joyous thing that anyone has ever seen.
Okay,
So
great.
right now, in the day of our Lord, I
Yeah.
would say
yes.
"Kids" by MGMT.
It's a great song.
What about you, Logan?
Oh,
Oh, no, he did it.
yeah, I did.
Stephen.
Yeah, really anything by Cat Stevens. If you know Cat Stevens is wonderful, joyous songs that just make me feel great.
I have a couple of songs that come to mind because of when I listen to a song that says to me everything's going to be okay, depending on what mood I'm in, it can also kind of make, if I'm sad and I put on one of my favorite songs, it can just make me feel a little bit sadder, which is sometimes what I want. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just want that in your life. But a song that kind of makes me feel like everything's going to be okay, it's a song called Chicago by Sufjan Stevens. It's one of my absolute favorites.
That was the album you...
Carrie and Low was the one I
Carrie
listened
Low.
to. That's his album, Feel the Illinois.
I haven't listened to that one then.
It's a great
I will
one.
listen to it.
Now you.
Now me, a song that makes me feel everything's going to be all right. Do you know
What about the one that goes, every little thing is going to be
Going to be all right. I mean, that does. I actually think because it just purely makes me feel joy. And now I've forgotten the artist. It goes, yes, sir, I can boogie, but I need a certain song. I can boogie. Okay, I can't.
No,
sing the
I
whole
love.
song. You know
Please,
that one?
no.
But I've forgotten the name of the
But
artist.
it's such a sweet little.
If anyone knows it,
I can boogie.
the song is called "Yes, Sir, I Can Boogie," and it is honestly
if you don't
listen to it.
remember,
You'll
it's
just it'll just make you happy and just kind of move around.
Make you boogie. I love
It'll
it.
make you boogie.
You are one of those special artists who a lot of us feel like we've gotten to grow up with. You're one of the longest running internet boyfriends of all time, and you've been doing incredible performances that truly touch people, including this one, since you were a kid. How does it feel to know that so many people are proud of you?
Well, that's really nice of you to say any of that. I don't know how to even process it. That's really sweet. I don't recognize that at all, or I haven't until you said it right now. which is really sweet, and it feels
new
really good.
information.
Oh yeah, it's new. I mean, I might just like I shrivel up and like I'm just closed in this chair because I'm so uncomfortable by it. But that is really nice to hear, and it means a lot. And the fact that you think that means a lot to me.
Most of us cannot imagine what it'd be like to not be in contact with our friends and family whenever we want to be, like to not just be able to pick up the phone and call or text, especially when we're worried about them. How did you get into that frame of mind when that can be so hard to wrap our head around in like modern day?
It's a great question. I mean, I think the simple answer is that, you know, when you're playing a character, it doesn't matter what the story is, they don't know. They don't know from one day to the next what's about to happen to them. So I think that can be liberating in terms of, for example, relating to this story. If they lose touch with each other for a week, they don't know that they're not going to see each other for 8 years.
Yeah.
For example, they're feeling the pain of that week, but they might think it might be 2 weeks or it might be a month. So I think the challenge is always to understand the enormity of the subject matter, but also to play the simplicity of the moment, of that scene, of the challenges of, and you know, that's one of the strengths, I think, in the way in which the story is told in terms of the script, is that humanity and simplicity is in there, which helps, I think.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
That's a great question. Do you know, I remember talking about this in the early rehearsal. The closest thing to me that I'd experienced that was the pandemic, right? You know, this was this enormous thing that had happened that the world was experiencing. I'm not in any way equating the two, but that sense of disconnect and distance, couldn't hug, couldn't meet. For me, that was a little bit of a way in to think, you know, turn that greater and greater and greater, because we could still, you know, in the digital age, we could still communicate.
Yeah.
But we were separate. And I think for me, that was sort of how it was personalized.
It is really interesting, too, to film a show where you're kind of, you know, there's scenes where we receive telegrams, and these are huge moments for the family. And my gosh, you know, I was one of the last of my own generation to get a phone at like 13 and not like, you know, 7 or something. So like, it is kind of interesting though, because I basically grew up with a phone at 13 years old onward. But before that, I was very disconnected, and it was intentional from my mom. And I would rely on, I would write cards to people and letters to people, my friends and stuff. And it was, you know, really sweet and everything, but I could also just pick up the phone and call them. And I did. And so relating to that was really, really interesting and a little bit difficult to relate to that particular part of it. Because also we all became so close as a cast, and we all became very familial. If I needed to ask you if I could borrow something, or if you wanted to get dinner, I would just pick up the phone and call you, you know? And so I can't wrap my mind around what that must have been like for these wonderful people.
You know, loneliness and longing was a essential part of this story, I think, for all of our characters, but speaking for myself and Adi, the person I play. And that was present throughout. Like, I mean, you're just trying to feel the scenes. You're trying to feel what your character's going through. And that was a huge part of it for Adi. He was separated from his family or anyone that he knew for so many years. And connecting with that feeling it genuinely, it was a big part of the show. And it was, yeah, it's hard to imagine in a time like this where everybody's so accessible.
Yeah.
But, you know, you try to imagine it, you try to feel it, and it's part of the job, I guess.
There's so many gut-wrenching reunions in the show where people are hearing from each other again or seeing each other again when they really didn't know they ever would. How did you find the right balance of playing that joy and relief amid all of that like pain and anxiety?
Personally, there are some like sectors of acting that are uncomfortable or hard that you have to like really work to tap into. By the time we were kind of getting to the reunions and shooting those things, my personal experience was like, we had bonded so much. We had become very comfortable with these characters that there wasn't a lot of thought into those reunions for me. Yeah. It was just feeling at that point, which was such a wonderful thing to kind of express and experience, because it doesn't always happen like that. For example, if I have to be like angry in a scene, I don't really get angry very often. So like, it's like, I always feel like I'm forcing something or it sounds fake or whatever. But like these, this emotional reunions that like took place, my favorite parts of the show, they just kind of happened because we all loved each other so much and we loved these characters so much.
Yeah, we had invested over these 8-9 months. We'd invested so much into the people. Also because, you know, I was looking around at a group of actors being like, everyone is amazing. Everyone is so extraordinarily their character.
So good.
When you're in the scene, those lines are blurred and it didn't feel like we were having to work for those. It just felt kind of those are coming for free.
Yeah.
Because of how extraordinary everyone else is.
Like the video, then hit the button, or better yet, drop us a comment. Then check out our latest videos here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button here for more celebrity interviews and entertainment news.